Hey gardeners, today we're in Newark, Delaware, visiting Kranz Hill Farm. They're going to show us their CSA and all the great fresh vegetables that they're picking for their shareholders. That's coming up next, right here on the Vegetable Gardening Show. This week we're grabbing our Easy Pass and heading down to Newark, Delaware to visit John Detweiller and the crew at Kranz Hill Farm. John and his crew are on a mission to serve the local Newark community fresh fruits and vegetables grown on these once neglected small parcels of land. Kranz Hill Farm is located on over 13 acres of a former Christmas tree farm that's now part of the White Clay Creek State Park. It's maintained by Omnia Humanitas, a group of people dedicated to helping others lead integrated, fulfilling lives by working together to build communities, redefine education, and revitalize the land. Meet John Detweiller, the originator of Kranz Hill Farm, who started their CSA a little over 7 years ago with just a handful of shareholders.
2010, so this is our 7th year, and we started with 20 shareholders that year, and we bought our greenhouse with the first payment from one of our shareholders and put it up together. And I guess we've grown every year since then, been expanding and putting on some, adding retail things at wholesale in addition to the CSA every year since then.
Not only does John work the farm to plant and harvest the crops, but he also does the bulk of the managerial duties that keeps the farm running.
Yeah, I'm the manager of the farm. You know, I've been working on the farm and doing most of the work every year. At the beginning, my wife was involved in it more. Then we got married and had kids, and she takes care of the kids and I take care of the farm. So I actually surveyed my shareholders to find out what they could tell me about that. And they said that one of the big differences from the other CSAs they've been a part of is that has to do with the selection that we have, the fact that people have choices about what to get, and just the relationship with the farmer. A lot of moving parts of CSAs where people take a box, they either come to a farm and pick up a box or go to a refrigerator somewhere and pick up a box out of the refrigerator, and whatever the farmer puts in it's what they get out of it. And we have all of our shareholders come to the farm to pick up, and that means they get a couple different things from that. We offer a lot of choices about what people can get. So for example, today some of our shareholders are getting 3 pounds of summer fruits, so tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, summer squash, but I don't pick what people get. So some people want a lot of eggplant, they take a lot of eggplant. Some people want a lot of squash, they take a lot of squash. Some people want to mix it up, and they mix it up, and they get to make those choices.
Before John started the CSA portion of Kranz Hill Farm, Omnia Humanitas was already on the scene handling the animal husbandry portion, starting with just a few chickens.
We currently have chickens, goats, dwarf Nigerian dairy goats, and donkeys.
This is Melanie Heiner of Omnia Humanitas. She handles all of the care of the animals, along with a focus on giving visitors to Kranz Hill Farm a chance to not just feed the animals, but learn and interact with them as well.
We're working currently to bring sheep and horses. That's our next big fundraiser, so anyone who wants to help us see that, come to fruition. That's our next plan. But they're all smaller scale animals. We're an educational farm, so that people can come here and actually learn about a farm animal, but actually get in with the farm animals. And I know lots of places you don't get a chance to actually go and touch and interact with the animals, but here you can go right in, and because they're small enough breeds and they've been raised with children their whole lives, they're easy to manage, and people can be less afraid. Many people are afraid of farm animals, and this is the opportunity to help them overcome that.
Melanie makes it clear that while the animals are a great attraction for Kranz Hill Farm and the visitors enjoy the interaction, each animal that lives there must serve a purpose.
Any animal that comes and lives on the farm has to do a job. We're not a petting zoo. These aren't pets. These are working animals. So goats are dairy goats. After they've had kids, we can milk our goats. The donkeys are here for protections of the goats. They keep coyotes away, they keep dogs away. And then the chickens, of course, lay eggs and provide meat when they're older. But we'll bring sheep and horses on. That's the extension. We have lots of friends who are weavers and spinners, and so we'll have a flock of 4 sheep, and then we're going to have 2 horses for an equine therapy program. And that'll be the extent of the animals for this size property. No pigs or anything like that. No cattle, not enough room for cattle.
If you've been to enough farms, then you know animals are a big hit amongst visitors, and that's no different at Kranz Hill Farm. From the feeding of the animals to the education and to the interaction with them, every visitor has their favorite.
I think the goats are. People are they're used to seeing a horse, so they're kind of okay with donkeys because they look similar, except for the big rabbit ears. I think the goats, are more amazing to them because the goats we have, being dwarf Nigerian dairy goats, are about the size of a large dog. But the fact that it's not a dog, I think really amazes them. And so I think that surprises them. I think the goats are maybe the most popular.
Just need some downtime or even a peaceful and quiet atmosphere? Then you're in luck, because at Kranz Hill Farm, you can get that.
And of course they can come and be here as long as they want and just sit on a bale of hay and just sit there with the animals. I think that's one of the things about the Kranz Hill Farm that's really interesting, is that we are so welcoming to families. Families like little tiny kids, sure, come and be here. And then if you want to spend an hour sitting here reading a book, great. You want to spend an hour sitting with the goats? That's great. You want to spend an hour feeding the chickens through the fence? That's great. Having the time with them is really important to me.
Yeah, so let me show you the sort of things we have out here. I mean, this is a whole bunch of green beans that are going to be pick your own. We don't, typically we do the selection, but it's almost ready. But it's right here near the entrance to our field, so people will be able to come in, shareholders can pick as much, as many green beans as they want there. Over here is a plot. This is going to be some of our fall greens that are coming in soon. We have our cabbage and kale and broccoli, kohlrabi. This, by the way, I'll just point out, this is not my crop. This is not my work. We have a guy who was an apprentice with us last year. He wants to get his own farm, but he didn't have any land yet, so I let him use an acre of our property. So that's actually his crops, all these neat and orderly row crops over there. I mentioned our baby greens, and so right here we have mustard and kale and some mizuna and baby lettuce, and this is sort of our way that we grow. It's a little sea of baby greens here. These tomatoes are all done, basically. We're harvesting a little bit, but it's not a pretty sight anymore. And here's some of the mushroom soil I was mentioning. We need to get a front end loader so we can actually use it effectively, because it's tough to move. For one thing, we have row cover. Helps protect from bugs and helps keeps the water in the ground. So that's instead of using pesticides, that's one of the main things we do. We do have a few organic pesticides that we use. If you notice how few weeds there are in here, we've never weeded this section. But what we use a black tarp. It's recommended by the French farmer or the Canadian farmer Jean-Martin Fortier. He wrote a book called The Market Gardener, which is full of all kinds of neat tips. And one of the things he says there's an occultation cover. It basically, I think in English it sounds better as a blackout cover. And basically you put that down for 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how hot it is. And what it'll do is it'll kill the weeds underneath. Actually, they have enough water. You have to get the ground, to use the cover, you get the ground wet first, and then you cover it all up. And if there's enough warmth and there's enough water in the soil, all the weeds that are in the top 1 or 2 inches of the soil will germinate, and they'll come up. But because there's no sunlight, because they're covered by the black tarp, they die. And then when you pull it off 2 or 3 weeks later, all your annual weeds have already exhausted themselves. And so you just have a free and clear bed to plant things in. You do have a few annual weeds that come in because they've got strong rootstock underneath. And then after about 3 or 4 weeks, we start to see the annual weeds come back. The perennial weeds are the ones that remain, but you start the annual weeds start to come back in. But 3 or 4 weeks later, everything's already, grown up and it's shading out the weeds underneath. So it's brilliant. I'll show you some of the tarps we have. None of them are down right now. This is another plot that we just took the tarp off 2 days ago. Or no, not 2 days ago, a few days ago. And we planted some of our baby greens in there and some other things over here. There's just hardly any weeds there. Here's the tarp, it's all folded up. But this is the stuff, and it is impressively heavy if you're dealing with 40 feet by 70 feet of it, especially when it gets water on it. And so it's very hard to move by yourself if you get any big ones. You have to hold it down, or else the wind will just pick it up and throw it like a sail. But the other problem with it that is worth mentioning and isn't mentioned in 40A's book is that it, whether or not it's successful at germinating the weeds really depends on the soil temperature. I tried to do it a few years ago to grow my early season salad greens, and so I put down the tarp in March, and I waited a month and nothing had germinated. And I waited another half a month and nothing had germinated. Finally got impatient because I knew I needed to plant them for my CSA. I pulled off the tarp. Not very many of the grass seeds had germinated. I planted everything. 2 weeks later, the grass seed was coming up right in the middle of all of the baby greens, and I couldn't really use that section. It was basically worthless.
Well, one of the things really unique about the farm is that it's built by students at our school, so it's student built. And we're talking about kids ages 9 to 17, 18 who come out and build everything. So fences are built. This terrace used to be completely overgrown and falling down, and they came in with a stonemason and learned how to do stonemasonry. They put crusher fill in it, so they built the terrace. And the chicken run, when you go into the chicken run, they built all of that. It was designed and built by students. The little chicken shed itself was the only piece that was there. And then they built the whole thing. So it's student built.
People are pleased. A lot of the people who come here love to visit the animals. They bring their families, and people with kids, without kids, they come and visit the animals, and that's sort of a pleasure for a lot of people. And they like getting the produce grown right here in the community, totally fresh. And we also have our fall festival every year, which is on September 30th this year, and we bring in a few hundred people for that. So we have entertainment, and we have vendors, and we have a lot of people who say, hey, I came here for your festival and I wanted to check it out. So there's a lot of people in the community who've made it a yearly thing to come back here and visit our festival.